This was actually the beginning of Framingham. This is where Framingham started.
The village of Saxonville claims some of the deepest roots in Framingham's history. And right in its heart, a sprawling mill complex shares Saxonville's name.
The really rich and vibrant and proud history of being a mill community here.
The Saxonville Mills originally housed textile manufacturing and served as the home of the Roxbury Carpet Company for about a century.
And that seized, I would say, probably around mid-90s, late 90s. And then it was just a myriad of printing companies and not any retail at all.
John Fournier's Framed in Time is one of the retailers in the 10-building mill complex. He first began working in this building for a different framing company.
40 years of doing this, and that's the most enjoyable part, is when people bring their own cherished pieces in here and they trust us to frame them up.
In the decades he's run his business in the mills, he's watched the space evolve.
Over the period of time, there's been a change to more artists. At one point in the back, there was only maybe 6 or 7. Now there's probably close to 60.
Basically, I got a gig painting murals in the building.
Soren Bika was one of the first artists to set up a studio here in Building 1 in 2017. Now he and fellow artist Amy Weeder manage the dozens of creative folks who work in the complex.
We made this little company that's called the Mill Contemporary Art. And one by one, we found a little space, we put some studios, and then those were occupied immediately. And then I've been like a hawk since that time, because every time there is a space that's vacated, I want it.
Bika is a painter and printmaker. He says fellow artists seem to have a way of finding their way to this community.
There are people going to the coffee shop, for example, and they walk by, they get lost in the hallways. And the funny thing is that some of them were artists looking for studios.
That coffee shop helps fuel tenants in the building and the public. Christian Barragan opened Saxonville Cafe in 2018, selling his family's coffee.
My family is a coffee growers back in Colombia. We do the importation directly. Once or twice a year, I go to Colombia. I do my selection of the best coffees for my family.
Barragan and his team roast the beans right in the cafe. He's also expanded to wholesale and distribution to restaurants, stores, and other coffee shops.
When I came here, my mother was here, and so, like immigrant, we say that we adapt the city when we came first. I mean, I've been in different cities. I've been in New York, Miami, but I'll always come back to Framingham.
Barragan and Fournier both credit the mill owners for helping them develop their businesses. Entrepreneur John Finley bought the mill complex in 1973. His daughter, Charlotte Maynard, now runs the company. Property manager Margaret Stevens says as new tenants come in, she helps them customize their spaces.
Since I've been here, I've probably overseen at least 20 tenant changeovers, fit-outs, just in the mill alone, which is really cool. The mill is unique. Every space, every mill is going to be different.
One of those projects was creating a fitness space with Alpine gym owner Adham Ibrahim.
It wasn't quite a gym. It was basically a woodworking warehouse. Most people, I think, walking up here would have been like, no way. Initially what it was and the journey we've had to take to get here.
There are now more than 80 tenants in the 400,000 square foot complex. That means there's always something to discover.
Kind of ominous when you look at it from the street. You're like, oh my gosh, what is in there? It's huge.
As activity grows at the Saxonville Mills, a local group is working to create more spaces for community just steps away.
One of the reasons that we care about this building, which is not in the mill but adjacent to the mill, is that it was an important meeting place for people historically that worked in the mill.
The Friends of Saxonville are hoping to overhaul and modernize the Framingham Athenaeum.
It's been a community center, it has been a home for the veterans, it's been a school, a library, and now we would really love to have it restored so it can be used as a community center again, because there's really nothing on the north side of Framingham that can fit more than 50 people.
The Athenaeum hasn't been used in decades and it's clear on the inside. Together with the city of Framingham, Brandon Ward and Lynn Damianos have a vision for what this space could be.
We would really like to be able to have some meeting spaces upstairs and performance areas and maybe some offices or smaller areas downstairs as well.
It is a nod to like where this community has been and where we want it to go.
And the Friends of Saxonville also working to get that neighborhood listed as a cultural district. They know that would help promote businesses, art institutions, cultural institutions, etc.
And back to Framed in Time, John Fournier says that he has framed some unusual items over the years, including a big splinter caught in a groom's foot during his honeymoon, that's one, and a pair of shorts worn in the Boston Marathon. But he does say that they were washed prior to being framed.
Can frame almost anything. Coming up, heading north to Mills on the Merrimack.